Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
No one goes to Hank's for his spreadsheets. They go for a darn good pizza. Lately, though, the shop's been quiet, so Hank decides to bring back the $1 slice. He asks Copilot in Microsoft Excel to look at his sales and costs and help him see if he can afford it. Copilot shows Hank where the money's going and which little extras make the dollar slice work. Now Hank has a line out the door. Hank makes the pizza, Copilot handles the spreadsheets. Learn more at m365copilot.com/work.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles podcast, brought to you by Huntworth. Huntworth gear for all types of weather, all types of terrain, all types of budgets. It's clothing that just works. Check them out at huntworthgear.com. This weekend at the Muskegon Bowman's Club, they're having a tack tune-up event and swap meet. That's going to be May 30th from 9 until 3. Get over there. That's going to be hosted by the Michigan Bowhunters Association. So that's going to be at the Muskegon Bowman's Club. Get over there, check that out. We're going to have the caribou out there at 111 yards. Don't have to be a member to come out and shoot. Just come out, check it out. Going to be a fun time. Again, May 30th, 9 to 3, the Muskegon Bowman's Club. So this week on the podcast, me and Nate are talking about kind of our plans for hunting this year. Nate's has drawn Kansas. I should be drawing Iowa. That's the plan. If not, we'll pivot and see what else is going on. But there's a high likelihood of that. And then we talk about what's going on with our turkey season. I was able to shoot a turkey over the weekend, Memorial Day here. And Nate's been out with his boy. Going to give it one last shot here over the weekend. Weekend coming up here. Last weekend of the season for you Michigan guys. And we've got, and my daughter ended up shooting a turkey. So that was pretty exciting. So we got that. And so fun podcast. Gonna enjoy it, but like I said on the last one, we've got working out the details for a new partner. Gonna be working with Yellowstone AI trail cameras this year. Really excited about that. Really excited to check them out. Best warranty in the business. Great people. Check them out at yellowstone.ai. Competitive plans, different tiers. It's kind of like set up like the old school data plans where it's shared data across all of your cameras that are on the same tier. And so if one camera's using more data than the other, it'll just steal some from the other. Overage is a penny a picture. So no more, adding $5 or $10 for X amount of pictures. You're just paying for what you use, and you're just strictly paying for the data. So really looking forward to working with them this upcoming year. And I've got some cameras out right now in kind of like a dark spot that's just taking terrible pictures with the Tacticams. So can't wait to get those Yellowstone cameras out there and see what the actual difference is, and be able to put them side by side, because I'm really at this point not happy with the pictures, and whether I was working with Yellowstone or not, the pictures that I'm getting from these Tacticams in this like shaded corner are just terrible. I have got 0 pictures, daytime or nighttime, that have been in color. It's just shaded enough that every picture's been in black and white. So really curious to see what the difference is with these Yellowstone cameras. And so check them out, yellowstone.ai, and enjoy the episode. Thanks for listening. All right, everybody. Adam Miller, Nate Rozeveld, back with another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles podcast. And tonight we're going to go through some turkey hunting, among some other things. We haven't talked a whole lot of turkey hunting, but I think first, Nate, you just found out you drew Kansas.
Yes, sir.
And you're not going with any of us. You've left us hanging in the wind again. Rome Schmome. He just says, screw you guys.
I'm just in that off year, man. One of these years will make it happen. I thought, well, in my defense, a couple guys are going to apply, I thought, and maybe have a chance to go, but they're like, we'll just take the points. I at least applied last year and didn't get in, but these guys are like, you know what? We just want to hunt with Adam, so screw Nate. We'll be fine.
So, I don't know where Eric falls into that, but, and I guess maybe you're like, maybe falling into it, and you and your dad have been, you said you and your dad have been going like every other year, or every couple years or something. But I feel like ever since we started this podcast, and maybe like a couple years before that, even like a few years before that, like I've hunted out of state like one or two trips like every year. And do you find that like odd? Do you think that that's like not normal?
I think, like you said, it doesn't matter who I'm going with, where I'm going, but I'm going somewhere every year. Like it can be with a group of people. Like for this year, I'm going to Kansas with the group of guys that I started hunting with out of state. Oh shoot, this will be our third trip together as a group. So, fortunate to have options in that regard. But yeah, it's like a non-negotiable kind of like I'm hunting out of state somewhere, and I don't know how many guys do actually do that for like, I think this will be, either last year was my 15th year or this is my 15th year of going out of state. Like I think I was 20 or 21 the first year me and my dad went to Kentucky, and I've went every year since. So yeah, it's the multi-state thing. That's kind of a new thing that I'm kind of like easing my way into, trying to, maybe go either in a rut hunt, then a late season hunt. Did that last year. Well, I went actually 3 states last year. That was a little much, but I don't think there's, I don't know. I think a lot of guys would want to, but it's kind of a lot to juggle, and you got to have the right work schedule or hunt somewhere where you can do, kind of more of an extended weekend kind of a hunt to make that happen.
Yeah, it's just odd. And I know that people give me like a bunch of crap, because of like my schedule that I have now, but I didn't always have this schedule. Yeah. And, I feel like I started this like even before I was done. I feel like before I was done with pharmacy school, because I bought my Lone Wolf Climber like right around that time, because I knew that I had the whole month of November off. Like I had 8 weeks, because that's what my rotations were. And I took it was like from October 15th to the 8 weeks. So I had like the whole month of November and like the best half of October off, to hunt. So like I sold like my other stands and bought that climber, because I was like, I'm going to be hunting that whole time, and I was going to be in Ohio. And it just, people are always like, kind of like the guys that are like, oh yeah, we were going to hunt this year, but it didn't kind of work out. Like, and now it's just kind of like gone down this road where like last year it was, I'd mentioned it before, like, one of Stella's friends who I had mentioned in passing, like, hey, yeah, like around Halloween or something that weekend, I'm going to go up to the cabin in the UP for 4 days or something. And, like a couple weeks later, he was like wanted all the details, like, cause that was going to be his big hunting trip.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, pump your brakes. Like, I've got a whole bunch of trips. Like, I got a lot of stuff going on between now and then. I'll have hunted a lot.
Yeah.
That's just a weekend trip, you know?
This is normal. That's just normal. I'm trying to remember, like, I want to say it was 2010, 2011 is when I was, fortunate enough to work with my dad for, 15 years almost. And we had just got done the year before. We had worked really hard all summer, and we had like intentions of going out of state or doing something, hunting a lot that fall. And then we had a job come up, and something came up, and we ended up just working like, I think we might have only gone hunted like one day before Thanksgiving. Like, it was just kind of a rough fall. Like, we were just so behind, and we had guys want, a lot of expectations out of us. And I remember when we got done with that season, my dad said, "That's it. Like, I don't own this company. We don't work this many hours to not at least enjoy the fall for at least 1 week." And that moving forward, he's like, "All right, foot down on the calendar. We're going somewhere." And we ended up picking Kentucky because we had a friend that was kind of in that area. And he said, "There's some public down here you can pull." We pulled a Jeep with my dad had a truck camper on his truck, and we towed the Jeep down behind it, and we went and camped. And that was our first out-of-state hunt. We went in there. We saw some great deer, and it was a lot of fun. It was before Onyx. I was using Google Maps to try to figure out how to hunt, and we had a blast doing that. And then we did, like, that was the beginning of, like, okay, we are now, it's either the first or second week in November plus gun season, like, the expectations are minimal for, Rod and Nate for that time. And that was really nice to have that father-son kind of bond. And that was right when I was, paying a lot more attention to YouTube videos and podcasts maybe, and like some of this internet stuff that was out there, like how to do it. And it was kind of like a bug, like, hey, we got to find these deer. And we'd go hunt, we'd go scout somewhere out of state and be like, this is amazing. Like, there's just buck sign everywhere. We'd hunt. We'd see bucks bigger than we'd ever seen hunt in Michigan. And it was just a lot of fun. And I think that just became a way of life that now I don't even, it would be really weird if I don't go out of state this year. And, like, I have, like you said, like, there's a lot of hunting happens between, doe season, early doe or youth hunt to January 1st or, middle of January. Like, I was in Iowa, I was in, Illinois, I was in Wyoming last year. Like, you're just running around doing, like, it's just what you do, right? Like, it's just how it happens. And I only got so many years to do it, and going to keep hammering down. Unfortunately, my dad has had some like knee and hip issues, so his ability to walk a lot and do those things have tapered off a little bit. So he hasn't been going out of state to hunt with me the last couple of years. We've done Iowa gun hunt a couple of times, and I was kind of pestering him this year, like, hey, let's go Kansas. Like, he's got a point. I'm like, let's apply. He's like, man, I think I'm going to be getting knee surgery going into the fall. And he's been saying that for like the past 2 years. He just puts it off. But it feels a little weird not going with him, but it's still something I do every year.
Yeah, I forget. Like, I'm trying to think of where I was. Well, I was talking to a guy from Illinois over the weekend, and we were talking about like a little bit of like what's happening in Michigan with like the tag prices and kind of like what some of the Patreons were talking about for the Patreon camp, and like it's going to go up like $100 or whatever. And he was, he was like talking about the hunting in Illinois, and the out of state tag is like $500, right? $600, something like that. And he was like, "Oh my God, that's expensive." And I was like, I don't even bat an eye at that. And for the listener, it might be like a shock. It might be like, oh, it must be nice or like whatever. But like, when you go into like any of the Western hunting, like that like the Montana big game tag is like $1,100 plus, and it hits your credit card or it comes out of your account as soon as you apply, and then they give you your money back if you don't draw. Same thing with Iowa, which was $600, $700 almost. Colorado, you have to spend $150 or something just to apply, because you have to buy their hunting license and whatever. And that's not even including any of this point stuff. And, when we started this, doing the podcast and talking about like hunting out of state, there's lots of inexpensive hunts. Like there's lots of cheaper hunts than, Kansas is like $600 or
I think
something.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. But even, I think Ohio, I think was like when we started doing it, it was like 260 or something. I think last year it went up to like 440.
Yeah.
So everything is getting, around that price point. But I mean, I feel like for our like the cost of our Kansas trip last year was minimal. I mean, the fuel cost more than the stay. And that was, I mean, it cost so little to stay. Like I didn't even split it between the guys. It was comical how little it cost to
Yeah, you got a
stay.
little hot tip about that location being cheap
Yeah.
too, if I remember right.
Yeah, but it was comical how cheap it was to stay. And, we basically, between us, I think we ate at Pizza Hut or, one of the restaurants every night. And then, breakfast, lunch, were whatever. I mean, I ate a lot of Christmas cakes and frickin' trail mix and granola bars and whatever. But it can be done relatively cheaply. And Byron from the Whitetail Experience and now with like the Deer Hunter Experience stuff, he always says to save your money instead of buying gear to try and get some of that extra PTO. And you're in a different situation too where PTO
What's that?
isn't a thing. So I think that may be what like holds people back from these out of state trips. But I think it's also, Brad and I have had these conversations about like you can't really make people want it, like and I think that's something that can be like really, really misconstrued, right? Because the whole wanting it thing is like you can say that and you want like, oh, I want big antlers, I want this. But for me it's just like to be in the woods for the adventure, for something new, for the challenge, to go and I can't say it enough, but to get to say just to be on like such a truncated timetable, to be 5 days and you have to, that's all you have. So, to be able to, kind of like go full steam ahead and just say, okay, what am I going to do just to figure, to try to figure this out and not waste any time and try and be as efficient. That's what it is like to want it. But you can't, when I tell people like, I leave at 3 a.m. and drive straight through and then scout. And then, like some of these trips I've done are like 4 days or 3 days or whatever, 5 sits. Some of them, you can't make people be like, that's worth it.
Yeah. Like when I went to Kansas, I think I went to bed at like midnight, woke up at 2:30 in the morning and drove all the way down there the second time I went and it's a 13-hour drive or whatever, got into town, found a spot to go, my B spot, because someone was at A spot and had a buck killed in like an hour. It's like, holy cow, I haven't been like awake. Like I've been in Kansas for like 2 hours and I have a deer killed. And then you get the deer all, get everything taken care of. It's like, oh, cool. In 3 days, I slept 6 hours. Sweet. Like, and I'm heading back home, but just, you're sick for it, man. And you kind of said like, you want it. Like, even when I went to Oklahoma this year, like every year I go to Oklahoma, I had to like, it's in a busy time of year, but it's like, hey, it's on the calendar. I'm going with the crew of guys and we're going to go kill some hogs. It's like, I will leave at night. I'll leave super early in the morning to, sleep deprived, but go there, have a really good time, get back and, do those things. And it's like all these little things you can make decisions to go do. And like, if it's coming, you have all year to plan for it. So like went to Wyoming for the first time last year, tried to shoot a mule deer. And it's just all about the experience. It's like, okay, I got extra costs involved. The wife went with it. How are we going to make this happen? Buying gear and cool. Like I didn't buy a new bow. Like instead of every 3 years, I'm going to buy a new bow in 4 years or whatever it may be. Or I have a gun fund kind of money. I always have side money from, selling this or doing a little side hustle or cash project or something. Like I just have that pool of money, and that's what paid for Kansas this year. Like that's what's buying that tag. That's what's going to pay for the Airbnb that we're sharing with everyone.
What's
All
that?
that
What's
stuff.
Airbnb?
Yeah, Airbnb. Hey, we got I that spot's a killer spot. Like seems like people who stay in that one area, they always kill deer. So if my luck's not, doing the greatest, I might be jumping ship on the Airbnb and roughing it a little bit more. But yeah, I think all those things, like you said, it's a desire, right? Like I maybe have went to a little extreme. Like I was going to be a college, degree, have a college degree and work in the healthcare field and do that. And was like, what, piss on that. I don't want to be tied down to anyone. I'm self-employed, baby. Like have my own business and do what I want to do. And I kind of live that way so I can take random Tuesdays off or hunt an afternoon here, hunt a morning here, like throughout the fall. And that's what I like. And I, can make up that time at midnight or 1 a.m. or whatever I got to do to be able to do this kind of a thing. But there's a lot of guys I know that work their normal, 40-hour week jobs and they bank their PTO. They work a lot of overtime. Like I think Rob, he will bank a bunch of his overtime, so in the fall he can take every Friday off, kind of a thing. Like he works crazy OT for that. So I mean, there's a lot of that's how he does it. He does those long weekend trips to Ohio or Illinois. Illinois, we did late season. That's all he did. He's like, I'm taking this day and this day off. I can be there for 4 days. Let's go down there and we killed a buck on day 2. So like you can be creative in how you do this, and you don't have to kill every time to have it be a success. Like I am the worst average on out of state hunts versus kills versus tags punch. Like I do not punch a lot of tags out of state. I've punched 3 like in 15 years. So it's like once every 5 years I might get lucky and get one. But I love it. Like I will go check new spots out. It's made me a better hunter. I feel like in Michigan, it's made me just overall enjoy the experience better. Reading terrain. I'm hunting in spots that I don't think I can really find spots like that here in Michigan just because it's a different state, a different experience, and it's good for my soul, as a lot of people like to say. Like I just enjoy that time a lot in the fall.
So it's been a while since I've done it. You're going back to Kansas to the same area that you hunted.
First time ever.
Yeah. And how do you feel about that? Like, do you feel like you're going to be like handcuffed? Like, do you feel like you're going to be like in the back of your mind, like I need to go here, like I need to go there, like
Yeah. I've already made different color pins like on the mapping software to be like, okay, this is this year, and I have 3 areas in mind that's in proximity of the areas I know that I'm going to check out first, but then I got like 10 that are nowhere near where I hunted last time, just to like expand the umbrella a little bit. Because that's kind of weird. I've never been back to the same spot in all these years. It's always go here, go there, maybe the same state, but different area. Like I love that new ground kind of feel. So it is very weird, like having a history somewhere, and I already feel like I've been drawn to the areas that I saw, deer I wanted to shoot. And I don't want to be like fixated on that because it's rut time. Like I keep telling myself it's the rut. Like just because 2 years ago or 3 years ago it was good on this day, it could be completely different. So I've always been a guy that doesn't really put a lot of pre-scout pins down. It's more like I'll drop a pin on an area, and like let's say if it's a 1,000-acre piece, I'll drop maybe 1 or 2 pins, and it'll kind of be maybe where I can park, or maybe it'll be like a terrain feature that kind of sticks out to me, and then I just like don't look back at it. Like I kind of just will wait weeks before I like circle back at it, or I might not ever look at it again until I actually like get there and drive around the area, and they'll be like, oh, I dropped a pin here. Why did I drop a pin? Drive around the block and be like, okay, yep, this looks like this. Because what happens is I used to get too fixated on my pins and just completely waste time. Like just, oh, this is the spot to go. And I get in there and it's like not the type of terrain I think it is, or it's void of deer sign, or it's too much hunter pressure. And then it's like, wow, I just went all in for 2 days in this area, burning the place down where I could have checked 10 miles of spots in that amount of time if I would have been a little more open minded. So the last 5, 6 years, I've been very open with where I go and just minimal pins. But once I scout, I drop some pins, and to me, I feel like I've had good success doing that with finding deer that I'm interested in, shooting and having really good hunts.
And the last time you hunted there, you were kind of like putting yourself second. You were kind of like hunting for someone else. Where are you at this time?
Yeah, when I was there last time, like we the group of us that go, we have 2 guys per truck is kind of how it goes. And the guy that I was with, his expectation or he wasn't as picky as me. So I was like, all right, let's find you the first spot, get you on deer. And then once that happened, I either made a circle or I drove somewhere else, or like it was always me dropping him off and then going to a spot, or we scouted together and it was like, hey, let's do that, which I was fine with because I was just like learning a new area. And, we both had great opportunities doing it that way. It worked really well. This time it might be similar. I don't know, because I'm going with Rob and same buddies, and he's kind of like Jake, like, dude, I'm punching a tag. Let's hammer down on this. And I'm already like, all right, dude, you got to go here, 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 here. Kind of like how you guys were, last year. I was like, if you want to find deer, like, this is where you need to go. There's deer in these areas. So we've talked a little bit about maybe sharing a truck, or if we're riding together, or what we're doing. But I think for me, man, I'm just picky. Like when I went back to Kansas, you had launched a podcast, I think maybe with Brad or someone, talking about not being so picky, and I was sleep deprived, and I was like, I'm doing all this. Like the first great buck, like if I get excited, I'm just gonna shoot the thing. And 45 minutes sitting there, I end up shooting one, And it's a great buck, nothing to take from the buck, but it's like I've passed, I don't even want to know how many bucks just like that. But I mean, in the moment, it made sense. So I mean, that can change. But man, I got some bucks burned into my brain from last time I was there that unless I get towards the last day, or maybe if I go to a return trip, those expectations might, drop a little bit. But I think, man, I just want to go and check out all these other spots. Like that's gonna be, I bet the first 2 days, if I sit in a tree, the only reason I'm gonna be sitting in a tree is because something is just like hit me right in the face when I was scouting, or I laid eyes on a deer I'm after. But I kind of have that, if it's a 6-day hunt or 7-day hunt or 5-day hunt, like I will scout the first couple days like a madman. And if I do set up, it'll be the last hour or first hour kind of a thing. And if I don't see what I want to go, I'm hopping the truck and I'm burning the place down. Like I try my best to just spread that net, because you got all these different wind directions maybe, or a spot may look really good and you have all east winds or you have all south winds. That's like, all right, I gotta go like walk into these areas because I have a south wind today. What property is going to access with a south wind? Like that's kind of, I'm very go by the day and just try to find that big old mature buck to shoot.
So you have no you have no plans on shooting a deer in Kansas?
No, like if I shoot one, it'll be a miracle. Is kind of how I think. I just want to like, it's not about. It's hard to. I don't know. In Michigan, I have like last year was different, but for the most part, I have all these deer like I know them, right? Like I've seen these deer. I have a really good idea what deer I'm going to see because you've been running trail cameras for a decade plus in these areas, and it's like I go in, it's like, all right, I got this deer in mind, and you go hunt. When I go to Kansas, like I have no idea what's out there. Let's go find one. Like I want to try to find that. Like I don't know how to like use like a. I just want to find that no doubter. Like that was a big old mature buck. Like I don't care if he's a 120 or if he's a 160. Like I don't care. I just want to find the biggest, baddest buck I can and learn it and see if I can make it happen. Or like we've talked about before, like I'll go throw a sit in a pinch point or in something that's like, I saw a good sign, there's a couple big tracks, let's see if a deer comes through, and you set up and you have great movement, and you see some awesome bucks, and it's like, man, I won. Like I won. I could have made something happen there. It wasn't the one I wanted. Like that's, for me, I'm like totally fine with that when I go out of state. Which is kind of the anti-Adam, I feel like, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, well that's the thing, is like we'll find out here soon if I draw Iowa, but like, Phil and Joe, like I'm gonna have to have my bow with me because we have different standards. Like,
Mhm.
and it's like, he's like, and Joe's like, I just want to hunt with my buddy. And I'm like, first of all, we're not buddies. But second of all,
We're here to punch tags. Come on.
but second of all, um, you know, like he went to Kansas just to film us, you know. So I said before, you know, he even brought it up, like me, Jake, and Eric was like, because they were gonna apply for Kansas, and I'm like, well, I just want to apply for Kansas. You guys do it, and I'll go film Joe. Like that's fine. And I'm like, I'll just hunt a state that's closer, or that's when I was like, well, I've got enough points to hunt a lesser unit in Iowa. Like I'll just draw, you know, I'll hunt my way back. I don't care. And I think that's like that's kind of like what I'm talking about with the, like, you just have to like want it or whatever, like kind of like you, but in the same vein of like, it doesn't really matter. Like people will ask me like, where are you going to hunt next year? Like, I don't know, I'll hunt somewhere. Or like, and people will be like, do you have any big hunts planned? And like last year was like, well, I'm going to hunt Kansas and I got a UP bear hunt, but like nothing big, you know, like nothing big. Like, well, I'm not going to Colorado or, you know, Idaho or anything. And like, I don't know. It's just like, I'll just
get there with a bow in my hand. Like,
I'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
And the fact is like, I've been doing it for long enough. And like my father-in-law, you know, he's like, this year they weren't going to hunt Colorado, and they didn't even make it to like past the drawing deadline where they're like, oh, never mind, we're going to go. So they hunt Ohio every year. And so like in my life, right, my wife is like, that's what she's, you know, accustomed to. So she's like, she'll just be like, well, where are you hunting this year? Like, when are you going? Like, what dates are you going to be around? And, you know, I'm very fortunate in that regard, you know, and like I've got, you know, 2 weeks or 20 days or something off in November. So like, well, I'll just go sometime in there.
It's just fun that way. Like I went to Wyoming for the first time. I've never mule deer hunted. Like I don't know what I'm really doing, right? I'm just trying to get a deer in bow range, and went with my wife, and we had like, fortunately I had a hot tip, right? Like, you know, we know enough people, and you can reach out to someone that's, you know, been there, done it, and shout out to Brandon and Tyler and the Travis boys. Like, they're like, hey, you didn't draw Kansas, you should, you know, apply for this Wyoming mule deer tag. And I was like, or deer tag. I was like, sure, sounds great. And he fortunately had dropped some pins, and I had a couple, maybe I had like 3 or 4 questions, and he answered them. I'm like, cool, I'm good to go. And where I ended up getting on a deer was like nowhere near anywhere he had given me any pins or where he'd hunted in the past. I just kind of like saw what they had, you know, had good luck when they had rifles in their hands, and hunted a couple days. I was like, hey, this isn't what I'm really seeing. Look at the map. It's like, we're going 3 hours that way. Let's go see what's across that mountain. And we just drove out there and parked in a random spot. And sure enough, there was a really nice mule deer in that valley. And we hunted them for a couple days, right? Like, that is a lot of freaking fun for me. Like, no, I didn't shoot. No, I didn't closer than 100 yards from him. But it was like, that was cool. Like, I want to go back. Like, if I didn't draw Kansas this year because of some point creep or something, like, I was probably going to be going back to Wyoming. Like, that was kind of my backup plan. Like, let's do that. And man, 2 days before I left, people could have asked me where I was going. But like, I have no idea where I'm going the first day. I'm just going to show up and, you know, figure out where there's food, figure out where there's, you know, what the town looks like or where we're going to stay, and make a plan as we go, baby. Let's all I need is water and food, and I can live for a few days. So I mean, we weren't doing like a crazy backcountry. You know, I knew that. Like, I wasn't going to go walk in 10 miles and tent camp. We're hunting out of the truck, you know, the rooftop tent in the truck. So that's a lot more of a whitetail feel hunt compared to like a Western big game, you know, wilderness hunt for sure.
You're explaining my first Kansas hunt to a T. Like I have no idea. Like I had a couple pins. I blew the crap out of those the first morning, and I was like, well, that ain't it. So
yep.
let's go see what else is out there. And that's one thing, like, so, that's why I'm so like envious of anyone who's like gone out from here and killed an elk with their bow, like on public land, because, not knowing like where they're at, like having, not having like enough time to go out there and like just having to figure it out, and you're going out there, you're calling them. Like, I feel like there's so many variables of, that have to go right, where it isn't just like intuitive, like where kind of like deer are kind of like a little bit intuitive. And so for me, like it's like literally like any elk, like there would be no passing. So when you were out there, like in the mule deer, did it have to be like the biggest, baddest mule deer, or were you going to shoot the first forky that walked out?
No, I wanted it to be like a mule deer. Like when someone's like, "Oh, you shot a mule deer," like it looked like a mule deer, like big frame. Like that's what I told Ashley, because we actually, I think it was either the second night or the first night, we got a group of, there's actually like found a group of whitetails, and the one whitetail was like, "Ooh, that's got me like intrigued," and I went and did some door knocking because I was like, "I'll go shoot that whitetail." It was a big velvet whitetail, and I was like, "I do not have one of those." And I think my tag was good for any deer. Whitetail or mule deer, and I saw that and I was like yeah, like I need to figure that out. And that same night that we found those group of whitetails, there was a couple smaller 2x2 maybe, and like a raggy looking spike, I guess a mule deer spike maybe, and they were cool. I was like, holy cow, there's mule deer here, that's cool. And but like I had like zero desire to shoot one of those, especially with that whitetail there. And then I went on a little mission to try to get permission, because the private I think it was like a wheat field or something that had irrigation on it. So like all the deer were in that private, like that's where everything was. And we were on the public, and they were betting on the private, going to eat in the private and just going right back. So it's like, we're pretty low odds here. So let's get permission. Didn't get permission. Couldn't find the owner. And then I just abandoned ship. And when the deer I found was like I don't know, he's wider than his ears, really tall, 4x4. Like I kind of just wanted that first one to be like that. And guess what happened? I went home with no tags punch because I tried to do that. But also like I didn't really find that many like mule deer bucks either. Like I found the little ones, and then went to a new spot, and then found that one that was like, oh, pretty nice deer, and hunted them for a couple days, and then the wildfire smoke was so bad we actually cut our trip short by a day. Maybe it was 2 days. It was really bad. We tried sleeping. It was rough. My wife was like sick. It was just like, all right, we had a good time. We had a good 5 days. Let's head home. And my truck blew up. So thank goodness it blew up on the way home and not in the mountains. But yeah, I was like, in my head, I wanted like to mount my first velvet mule deer with a bow. I was like, I want this thing to look like a mule deer. Same thing I did with my bear, like the black bear I shot in Wyoming. Like everyone's like, what are you gonna do? I was like, I want to shoot a bear that's like as big or bigger than me. Like I want it to be like a bear. And they kind of all laughed at me. I'm like, I'm dead serious. Like if it comes in and I don't think it's like as big as that 55-gallon drum or like that 250-pound range, like I'll just watch it. Like I have no problem going home empty-handed. And was fortunate enough first night to get a great bear. So yeah, that's just how I am. And I don't know if that's just how I've always been, but that's how I've kind of been in my adult life.
If you're listening to this podcast and, you clap back at Nate at any point and said he was a trophy hunter and I defended him, I was wrong. And I fully will walk that back because he is a trophy hunter.
Hey, I'll shoot does.
Yeah. Because if you don't, you're the problem.
I'm the problem.
I heard that.
Wow.
I heard that. So what about turkeys? You shooting a Jake? Or
you know what? My first turkey was a Jake. It was. I don't remember how old I was. Maybe 15, 14 years old. And I shot a triple-bearded Tom right after that. Will I shoot a Jake? I don't know. Like last day a Jake comes out, maybe. I'm not really sure. I'm not much of a turkey guy, but we actually had the discussion with Henry this year because he had a Jake that he took a shot at, and there was a Tom in the area, and he's like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Dude, my first turkey was a Jake. Like, if that thing gives you a shot, shoot it. Like, I'm for that." And that's kind of interesting because I was able to shoot whatever buck I wanted as a kid. My like all kids can shoot whatever they want until they essentially once they're an adult, then it's like, okay, if you're gonna be here for the cause, like we put restrictions on some of these deer. Like after you shoot a couple, like get some under your belt. But other than that, I was like, yeah, free range. I mean, I've shot, I don't even know. I've probably shot 5 or 6 year-and-a-half-old bucks when I was a kid. Like I was kind of a tear there with my bow. Maybe I've shot 10. I don't even know. Like I was that way. Like see a buck, holy cow, I got a buck at bow range. This is incredible. Whap, I would shoot it. And then, I just kind of became this trophy hunter once I got older. But no, I think I would shoot a Jake maybe like last day kind of a thing. Or I don't even have a turkey tag this year because I'm trying to get Henry to shoot one. I think last year I didn't shoot a Jake. I had a chance to shoot a Jake, but I saw the Tom off in the distance, so I tried getting in front of the Tom, and he crossed the road before I got there. And I guess I could have smoked a Jake. Then it was like 30-yard shot, so maybe I guess I passed Jakes. I don't know. Is that normal? I don't know if it is or not. I'm not like big
Well,
in the turkey world.
it's
Is a Jake like a button buck, or is a Jake like a year-and-a-half-old buck? Like, what would you say a Jake is in the turkey world?
I don't know. I think that they're like year and a half old. Like I think they're like, but they're like in the South, like you don't shoot Jakes. Like it's
Okay.
like taboo. Like you don't shoot them. Like
So it's like
that's
worse. It's like worse than a button buck, like shooting a button buck kind of a thing.
it's like definitely frowned upon. Like it's
So
like
if I rolled into Alabama and smoked a Jake and then had in my
oh
truck, I'd be
yeah,
anything but a white boy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It would be, and it's funny because I always ask people like, what about that? And I don't. It's not illegal, but it's just the code because there's like a turkey hunting code.
So is it like fly fishing kind of? Like there's a way to fly fish, like or like to river fish, like kind of a thing. Like if you're gonna catch a
catch and release only?
like is it kind of like a
That's how I.
purist thing maybe?
That's how I
Or-
bow hunt turkeys. Catch and release.
What about bearded hens? I got a bearded hen right here behind me. I shot that with my bow one time in the fall. Is
I
that
shot
like
one.
a taboo thing too, or I
Yeah,
guess
you don't
so
shoot those.
would you shoot a so like if a Jake came in and a bearded hen came in the spring, which one would you shoot?
Well, I mean,
Can you shoot a bearded hen in the spring? I guess I don't even know the.
yeah,
Okay,
any bearded turkey.
so you have
I
a
shot. I
bearded.
shot one. I didn't even know that they existed. You haven't heard that story?
I probably have, but it's a turkey, so in one year out the other. But
So it was literally the last day of the season,
okay,
and I was hunting this private piece that I had permission on, and he's like, "Yeah, there's a bunch of turkeys out there, and there's a blind set up." So I went in the blind and I called, and there's a bunch of gobbling, and I waited, and here all of a sudden here comes all the turkeys out, from the corner, and they're all working their way in front of me, and there's a handful of turkeys that come out in front of me, and there's this big fanned up Tom over in the corner, like 50 yards away, and they're all working towards me, and then the turkey in front of me has a 10-inch beard, or it's like a 9-inch beard, and it's in like fallow, like it's like an overgrown field, so these are just turkeys, and I'm not I've probably killed 4 turkeys at this point. I'm out by myself. Most of my other turkeys, I think I've killed 2 by myself, and the rest of them have been with Frank or whatever. And so, big turkey over there at 50, 9-inch, 8-inch bearded turkey in front of me, bird in hand, one in the bush, right? Last day, whacks this turkey.
oh yeah, shoot it.
And the turkey's all, well, it's how it is like right now where everything's like condensation, this turkey's flopping around over there. And so I get over there and it looks like this turkey, like, just got out of the washing machine. It's super wet and just the feathers are all jacked up and, damn near blew its head off. Right. And I pick it up and it's the size of like a big chicken. And I'm like, what the hell? And it's got this big ass beard. And I did not know that bearded hens were a thing. I had no idea, like, on, the coloring or like whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, beard or no beard. Like, it was like I got, it was like I got catfished by like a Thai lady boy. Like, I was like, what is going on here?
So confused.
Like,
hey, but I mean, in your defense, like, sometimes it's hard. Like, I don't know, I'm not like a astute turkey guy, but like when I shot my bearded hen, there was like a whole pile of them came through. It was the fall. I think it was like November or something. I was about to climb down and I heard in the distance. I'm like, oh man, here comes some deer. So I hung out for a little bit. It was a freaking pile of turkeys. And I had the fall turkey tag and I was like, I had always seen like toms strutting like in this area in the fall. And I was like, all right, I'm going to shoot. I thought, man, there'll be a tom with them. And I want to say maybe there was some toms, but they like kind of skirted me. But then I like look and they're like single file line, like right underneath my tree. And I'm just watching all these turkeys. I'm like, these things are so stupid. And like, I think I was maybe trying to like throw something at them or whatever. And I was like, holy cow, that one's got a beard. And I was like, well, I can shoot a hen in the fall. Like, and it's got a beard. Like, I'm good to go. And I waxed that thing at like 40 yards with my bow and I mounted it because I thought it was pretty cool. But to me, I was like, yeah, like sometimes like a turkey will have like a really red head. Like, and sometimes I've seen them like, the time that me and Henry were watching recently, like I was glassing him up and I couldn't tell him there's difference between him and like the whole group of turkeys. Like his head was the same color. So I don't really know if they get more fired up, they get a redder head, or if it's an age thing. Like I don't know why, but sometimes they all just kind of look the same, especially if they're not strutting to my untrained eyes. Like I guess I completely, oh, look at that beard hanging there. Kapow! Like, yeah, it seems like a pretty easy thing to do in the turkey woods. They all look the freaking same, like it's a turkey.
Now I can tell, like, because they're usually bigger, like taller. The coloring is different. They're like,
what an inexperienced guy that's like excited.
Male turkeys are like black.
World's worst bow hunter trying to shoot turkeys. What do you expect?
Yeah. Well, I'm a much worse bow hunter than I am turkey hunter. God, when you put me as a turkey bow hunter, like, get out of there. But yeah, so I mean,
bearded hen, you have to answer the question though. Last day, like
I did it.
Turkeys. Yeah, but like right now, last day, you haven't filled a turkey tag, single file line. There is, there's a tom 150 yards plus out. He's gobbling his head off. He's with hens. Here comes two turkeys, two coming into your decoys. It's a bearded hen and a jake.
Well, I'll shoot the jake in a heartbeat.
Shoot the jake over the bearded hen, even if the beard in the hen is like really long, like a 10-inch beard. Okay.
Yep.
I think I would shoot the hen because it's like got a long beard. I don't know, trophy hunter, right? Like shoot the long bearded thing.
Yeah. Well, that's
gotta be true to my colors, trophy hunter.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that.
Will the hen grow a longer beard the next year? Jake could grow to be a really big tom, but the hen might be maxed out. So, if I'm benefiting the turkey population, I probably should shoot some hens.
I don't have any idea.
We need a turkey expert.
But the funny part about it is like where I was hunting this year, there is like a rope bearded hen.
Oh.
And the landowner, he said, like, nobody can shoot it except unless you're gonna get it mounted. He's like, if you're gonna get it mounted, then you can shoot it, but otherwise don't shoot it.
Perfect.
And it's been out there for like a few years. So, I mean, but no, I would shoot a jake. And so where I've been hunting, where I did end up killing a turkey. For those who are listening, we'll get into that in a minute here. But he was out there, and he's a very accomplished hunter. I mean, he's killed a lot of turkeys and killed so many deer. It's insane. But he was out hunting this year with his grandson, and I think his grandson is 5. And there's been a lot of big birds around there. There's been a lot of big birds killed out there, and he was out there calling, hunting, and a group of like 6 jakes came in, and he asked his grandson, "You want me to shoot one of those?" And he was like, "Yeah, Grandpa." And he said, he's like, "All right, here they come." And he said, "I've never been so proud," because I told him, he said, "They're right there." He said, "Look, you can move and look with your eyes, but not with your body. You can just," and he said he saw him over there just looking, moving with his eyes, and he shot one, and, so they got to take their pictures with it, and he got to go out there and do all the stuff, and he was so happy, and then I went out there, and that was the same spot where Stella killed her bird, and so we went out there, and Stella's hunted out there a few times, and my daughter is something else. So we've hunted turkeys, I don't know, like the past 3 years. We hunted them on private land, we hunted them on public land, had a bunch of birds gobbling, and I think it's kind of like what you had said to us, like in the group, like you kind of wanted to see your son struggle with something. Well, we've been out there where there was nothing going on. We've been out there in every single youth hunt we've been hunting. We've had nothing to shoot at, and she's only killed deer during the regular hunting season, which I think is pretty cool. But for turkeys, we've had birds gobbling that we couldn't get to commit. We've called in a bunch of hens, and she's like, "Can I just shoot the hens, Dad?" And I'm like, "No, you can't shoot the hens. No hens."
Got a beard.
And this year, finally, we get a bird to commit, and this comes running in from 200 yards away. But as soon as he breaks the field, she's like, "Can I shoot him?" And I'm like, "Nope." I'm like, "He's got to come a lot closer than that." And he comes closer, and she's like, "Can I shoot him?" I'm like, "Nope." And in hindsight, being 2020, we almost blew it. It's a pretty cool video, but she's like, "Can I shoot him?" I'm like, "Nope, you have all the time in the world." And then she's like, "Can I shoot him?" And I'm like, "Just let him come." And I wanted him to get, to the decoys, and then when I say that she can shoot him, she doesn't shoot him, and he comes running into the decoys, and then he sees something that he doesn't like. He alarm putts, turns, starts going away, and she can't shoot him because it's a blind. It's a pop-up blind underneath an elevated blind. So the legs were in the way. And then he legit folds his wings and starts taking off. And I guess he got curious because he turned back around and he started going slower. And he picked his head up, and she's like, "Can I shoot him?" And I was like, "Yes, shoot him." And she laid him out right there. And she was pretty excited. But why I say that she's something else is my wife killed a bird with her dad, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago now. And it's the only turkey that she's ever killed. It's the only thing that she's ever killed. And it's kind of a funny story because they were calling, weren't even really set up. Frank's putting on bug spray and looks up, and there's a turkey there, so he's frozen. And then kind of the same thing, but they're not sitting together. They're just out, and the turkey's strutting, and he's starting to get away, and he's going, "Shoot, shoot, shoot." And then finally she shoots him. Well, anybody that shot a turkey with a shotgun, I feel like you don't just shoot them and it's lights out. There's a little bit of extracurriculars you got to do to them. And my wife is like, "Oh my God, he's not dead. And, Frank goes over there, jumps on his back. It's like, oh, it's no problem. Gives him the old squeezing. And my wife is, conflicted about this. She's like sad. And it's funny because that bird was like a 22-pound bird, like pretty big spurs. Like I think up to the one that I killed, it had bigger spurs than any bird that I'd ever killed. And, but it must have had beard rot or something because the beard was like a half-inch long.
Oh, really?
It was as big around as like a 10-gauge shell.
Is beard rot a thing, or did you just make that up?
No, like in the wintertime, sometimes they'll like freeze off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, frosty or something.
Yeah. So, and she's like, "Where's the beard?" And so she shot a turkey with no beard.
No beard.
I mean, it had a beard, but it was negligible. So same thing happens with my daughter's bird, and I'm out there, and she's just, instead of being sad or affected by it, she's just laughing. She's like, "Are you choking him? Like, is he supposed to be flopping around like that?" Like, she's like, "I don't think he's alive anymore." So she's a bit different than
and seeing
most
Frank, man,
10-year-old girls.
I would have paid money to watch Frank do that too. That'd be pretty funny. Seeing Frank take care of that bird, froze.
Oh yeah.
So for Stella, like, what gun did you use, and like what was her setup for that?
So she has a Stevens, I want to say it's like a 3, I forget what the model is. I want to say it's like a 310 or something like that. It's a 410. Well, it's Stevens 301, I think is what it is. Single shot. And what's nice about those is like she has one of the cheap Rossi 410s, but they're not threaded for a choke. So she's got a Carlson TSS choke on it. And we patterned that gun with like everything. We patterned it with TSS. We patterned it with like all sorts of stuff. And I think it's like, it's ridiculous. But I think number 7 shot is what, like number 7 lead high brass is what patterns the best out of that gun. Like the TSS was garbage, like at the whatever we had. And I mean, we went through like 3 boxes of it, like trying to, because she's got like a red dot on it. Yeah, it was like an exorbitant amount of money trying to like make that work.
You said she's got a red dot. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is your daughter like left eye dominant but right-handed or something, or what is her?
No, she just couldn't blink. Like, so she couldn't, like, so to shoot out of her AR with the scope, like she wore an eye patch for quite some time when she was little.
So like, she would be messed up if she had both eyes open, you're saying? So you just have the patch for that? Okay.
Yeah, but so with the red dot, she's fine.
Okay.
But with actual scope, it was
Gotcha.
It was a problem.
So the red dot's no problem for her to like get on target and shoot with it.
No,
okay, nice.
No, and the only thing I don't like about that gun, and it's like the new safety features, is it's a freaking. I mean, everybody that's my age, like, grew up with a H&R Pardner freaking
New England
single barrel, and they didn't have safeties because they were just single shots, a hammer or not hammer, and they had the like disconnect there. Well, these all have safeties also, so it's just like, so you can cock the hammer back and put a safety on it, which I think is just absurd.
There's a click video on YouTube of me whiffing on a rabbit, or not shooting at a rabbit, because my Rossi's got that same thing, the Rossi pistol. It's got a hammer and a safety, and I messed one of those up in the heat of the moment, or I had the gun out and I was going to shoot, and then there wasn't a rabbit, or someone else shot it, so I went to go reholster it. And then when I pulled, like, then another rabbit came, and I pulled it out, and I pulled the hammer, and I didn't either pull it back all the way, or didn't have that thumbs or the push button safety, and I went up and click, nothing happened. Like, what the heck, man? Like, thought I had the hammer back, but yeah, you're right. There's like 2 safeties now on those.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't like that, but the cool thing about that gun is there's like a million different versions of it. They make like specific, like they make mossy oak ones or whatever, but they make a kid's like short one, and they have it like already drilled and tapped for a rail. They make them that already come with red dots, and they've come up in price a little bit, but they were like super dirt cheap. And it's like if you have handled like one of those Rossi, like the combos, they're just, the stocks are garbage. Like it doesn't feel like the fit and finish of them is really terrible. And those Stevens or Savage 301s are much better. I mean, it fits together. The stock is at least like a solid polymer instead of being like just Tupperware empty.
Yeah, IKEA.
Yeah.
Now, do you have her using a tripod or?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
She has it on a bog tripod.
Yeah, same for Henry. Man, I cannot wait for him to be able to, like, I should get him a kid's gun. He's just using my semi-automatic 410 Mossberg, or it's not it's made by Mossberg, but I can't remember the name. It's just it's a turkey gun that I bought, semi-automatic, a rabbit hunt with it, and it's like just too big for him. I'm like, man, I can't wait for you to be able to shoulder a shotgun and not have to have it on this death grip.
Oh,
It just makes life so. It's kind of like adds a little difficulty element. Like I think we'll get into our story, but like if he was like an adult or a little bigger and he could like shoulder a shotgun, like his shot would have been so much quicker and so much easier than what the shot ended up being.
one other cool thing about my daughter, why she's different, is completely unsolicited. Where we get done, we go out there, we're looking at her turkey, looking at the beard and looking at it, and she just looks up and she goes, "Well, now I gotta go duck hunting." Like
Nice.
like she like for no like there was no like what do we got to do now? It was just she just was like, "Well, now we got to go duck hunting."
Does Grandpa duck hunt or anything, or like what made her like want to go duck hunting?
Well, so my brother duck hunts, and then her cousin Cam duck hunts.
Yep.
So then when we go to the UP for the kids' weekend, that's usually the UP's late split. So they really don't even deer hunt. Like Dustin and Cam usually take off and go freeze their balls off like somewhere. Like my brother fell in and was like completely covered and like completely soaked. Cam fell in like, and this is in December, it's Thanksgiving, basically.
Love it.
But like we've gone out, like I've went out for the opener, and like I said, maybe you've heard me talk about it, but like she'll fist fight you for some duck. Like I'll come home with duck from going with them, and like when she was little, I would be like breasting out ducks like in the driveway.
Yeah.
And it would just be the carcasses, right? So I'm just taking the breasts out. The carcasses are just laying there, and she's like pretending she's giving him CPR, telling me that I'm the worst doctor ever.
That's awesome. Living in a hunting family. Well, Henry, it's kind of funny you said that because we got done turkey hunting, and Henry's like, "Hey, why didn't we goose hunt this year?" Like, I like goose hunting. Like, he loves laying a layout blind and setting up decoys and stuff. I'm like, you're about big enough. I was like, you start shouldering these guns. Like, you can bring a gun out. Like, that'll be fine. And yeah, I guess it just gives me an excuse to buy a sweet side by side or over under or something small for him to go use. But yeah, I love having that. Like, I remember being 12 years old, all jacked up to go goose hunting or duck hunting or turkey hunting. Like, that was a lot of fun because that was the first thing I could shoot with a gun back in the day. Like, I couldn't shoot a deer until I was 14 with a gun like you. Like, it was like, all right, hey, we can go use firepower to shoot something. Like, sign me up.
Ours was going to the, like, I remember, like, graduating hunter safety and then immediately going over to, like, the thumb area, like, where Matt lives with those guys and going pheasant hunting.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we did.
Yeah. It'll be a good time. So, Stella got her turkey. That's her first turkey. She had a lot of years of struggling. Awesome bird. Typical Adam fashion. It was a little chaotic in the blind, but she pulled through. So it's good that she's already starting that at a young age, making it happen even in not ideal circumstances. And then fast forward to like the day you finally take out. Like, I didn't realize how much you were turkey hunting.
Oh, yeah. So like I'm, because I don't have to work. I well, I've been getting up
Well, you
like
could shoot a turkey and still get to work that day. So like that's pretty cool.
yeah. Well, that was just by in actually I had been doing that anyways, but like the previous weekend, like I had to I did have to work, but I was like in between like where I was hunting and camping and so like that week, like Jake had given me it's funny, Jake gave me this pin and he's like, there's a million birds here. So I start going down all these 2-tracks and they're like single lane, like 2-tracks. And it's actually a spot where like Frank and I had hunted before and John and I had hunted before. And he's killed a lot of birds in there, but like nowhere near, I mean, probably 5 miles, like closer, like down these 2-tracks. So I'm just like bahaing down these 2-tracks and then trying to figure out like in the dark which way to go to get to like where Jake's pin is, like which 2-track is the nearest 2-track. And so finally I was just like, well, it's starting to get light, like this is going to be close enough. And it was like 3/4 of a mile from his pin, but I was like, well, I'll just get out here and just kind of listen and work my way over that way.
Decoys, just a gun. Like, what's your mindset?
I had decoys, and I did have a gun because I got a really nice scope from Hawk. So they had given me one of their turkey scopes, and so Cam sent me one of the turkey scopes for to try out, and so I got that mounted up, and then all those guys like Austin had his little turkey camp, and Redder came in, so I took my shotgun and I painted it all up because my shotgun was like super bright, and I couldn't have that, so
You did a nice paint job on it, though.
it's a 50-50.
I mean, like from my expectations when you said you're going to paint it, and then from what I seen, I was like, oh dang, Adam, not bad. So maybe my expectations were pretty low for you. I don't know what that
Yeah.
says about you being handy, but
No, I mean, I grew up. My mom was like super into like arts and crafts. So like, and my grandma was an artist, like legitimate.
okay. So no excuses. I see what you're saying.
So for me, like I said, it's just like everything else. Like,
everything
the
you
people that
do.
surround me are very high level. So I just do crappy work compared to them.
So is it crappy work, or is it the effort you should have put into it, but you stopped it? So like, is that why you think it's crappy? Because like I was just having this discussion with someone. I can't really remember how it came up, but it's like I know I could probably do this better, but the amount of time I would have to invest into it to do it better, I'm not willing to do right now. So like I settle kind of for certain things. Is it kind of that?
Kind of. It was just split. Like everything worked out right. But like I had ordered some stencils, and the stencils that I ordered were the inverse of what I wanted. So to do what I had to do like some wildly crazy arts and crafts to make this work. So what I ended up doing is I ended up masking taping off the stencil and cutting out the negative space to make the shapes that I needed. And in doing so, it created like a space and it lifted up the tape so my edges are
Not crisp.
not crisp. Yeah.
But the turkeys don't care.
No.
Turkeys don't care. It still kills them.
No. No. But anyway, so I started walking in there and birds were gobbling like immediately. And so I was like, okay, well, this is kind of cool. And I walked and I was like, oh, this looks like there's a 2-track over here or something. So I'm going to walk over, and it just ended up being this big opening. And it was like all these big, like old oak trees. And I'm like, it sounded like there was a bird right here, and this looks like where they should be roosted. And I literally stopped there for like 5 minutes, and I'm like looking up at all these trees, and there was nothing gobbling at this point. And so I'm looking and looking and looking and looking and looking. Nothing. I walk another 50 yards, stop, looking, I'm looking. Nothing. And then there's like a old, like you go up this ridge and there's like an old like blind, like, like a deer blind. I walk up by that blind and I'm looking. I'm like, And I take like one more step and whoosh, one bird takes off. Like a single bird took off out of there. And I was like, well, that sucks.
On the ground or in the tree?
From the tree.
Oh my gosh.
Like yeah. So I was like, son of a bitch. And
so are you like, I ruined it? Like, is that what you think? Like if
no,
you scare a turkey, you're like, oh, it's over? Or okay.
No, because there were so many there were so many birds that were gobbling.
There's a million birds in there.
That one was just gobbling right there. And so this is where it screwed me, because that bird flew, and it flew down in this bottom, like it was like this between these two ridges. It flew down there and it like ran off. So I kind of like kept walking down the ridge. Well, 2 minutes later, these multiple birds gobble again out in front of me. Not far. I mean, very close still. So I'm like, okay, well, there's more birds up here.
Like sub 100 yards, or like what's considered close?
Yeah, we're like 100 yards, probably. Maybe judging by like the events that had transpired afterwards, they may have been like a little bit further away from me than that. But so I was like, well, in hindsight, I should have just sat down right there. But I thought in my mind, those birds flew, the first bird flew down in this bottom. So there's a big, it's like kind of brushy, and there's like an opening down there. So I'm like, I went down to that opening, and I set my decoys in the opening, and I set up kind of facing where the birds would come from, or where they were gobbling. And I was in between the two. And I sat there, and all I did was I got all set up, and I wasn't in like the greatest spot, but I was set up to shoot my decoys as they were coming in. Like I was set up to shoot like in front of me and to my left to the decoys.
Yeah, strong side, right? Because left is, strong side. Yeah.
So I take my slate out, and I did just like a few like purrs and just a couple of yelps. And then I put the call away. They gobbled. But all I wanted to do was just let them know, like, hey, like if I just flew down, like, hey, I'm right here. And then I just waited. And probably like 10 minutes up on the ridge, I see head. Toot, 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 toot.
Oh.
And then I see fan. And then I see another fan.
Oh my gosh.
And this is like, they're like 90 yards away from me, like up on the ridge. So had I just stayed on the ridge and not went down into the, and so then now they're turned, and they're like looking down, and they're gobbling, and they're just going back and forth up on the top of the ridge.
Yep.
And so then I just kind of like waiting. I give it like a few more calls, and they're like kind of like working their way down there. And then I'm like kind of calling a little bit more. And this is all over the span of like 15 minutes,
So pretty quick. Yeah.
Well, but I mean,
is that quick, or is that slow in turkey, I guess, woods?
Well, what I'm saying is like from the time I see their head and they're up there just fiddle farting around for 15 minutes, which it seems like an eternity.
Yeah.
Because you're like, you just want them to, I mean, in a perfect world, they would have just flew down and went right to my decoys, you know? And the problem is like they see the decoys. With turkeys, you're going against nature. So they gobble, the hens are supposed to go up there. I got a hen and a Jake, so they obviously aren't ready to just go whip this Jake's ass.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just up there peacocking, like, hey, you're supposed to come up here. There's no other hens or anything around. I'm not hearing any hens.
Oh, so perfect. Like perfect scenario. Like this is what you want. Gosh.
Yeah. And just for 15 minutes they're just doing nothing. And so then they just like work their way down the ridge to like where I can't see them anymore. They went back like kind of like where they came from, like over the ridge the other way. So like that's not like to my right. Well, there's like a tree to my right, so I like got to pull my gun back and like move it over. And I think they must have seen that because they gobbled one more time and then they were gone.
Jeez.
So, whatever. So I just continue on. I'll walk all over hell. Get over to where Jake's spot was. Call. Nothing. Keep working. Finally, I get, and I heard some gobbles, but they were like far away, like nothing I could really want to like make a move on. And then finally, I heard one that I could call, like that was like answering, like I'd call it an answer, and it sounded like close enough. So I moved up like another 150 yards, called, and it was closer, and it was like down this ridge. So I'm like, okay, perfect. Like I think I can call it up this ridge. So I'm calling. Can't get it to come. It's not coming any closer. It's just down there in the same spot, loud. I mean, just gobbling its head off. You know,
That one was at the bottom.
I'm cutting it off. I'm cutting it off. You know, I can't pull it up the ridge, so I like scooch down, and so like now I'm like kind of at the point where these two ridges come together, and I'm calling, and the bird is gobbling. Well, then I would like yelp. I'd do like yelp, and then there'd be like yelp, single yelps over here. And there was like the end, like a turnaround of a 2-track over here. And so I didn't know if it was like a guy that was calling too, because it wasn't. A lot of times when, at least in my experience, like sometimes the hens would like mimic me, but a lot of times they would like get pissed off. So they would get like a little bit more fired up than my calling. They wouldn't like, so I would like try to fire back on them. Like the hen would get fired up, but this hen was just doing like the exact same thing that I was doing. So that's what made me think that it was a guy. And so right about the exact same time that I realized it wasn't a guy and it was a real hen was when it came up the ridge, like right to me and then took off. And that's when I realized that the bird that I was calling to was actually across the river, and that's why it wouldn't come any closer. So that was a problem. And then I called, and then so I went back. So I went all around and couldn't get anything else going. And I went all over, but like when I got back to my truck, there was fresh gobbler tracks like walking right past my truck. So I mean, there was turkeys all over in there. So the next day, it was like the next day or like a couple days later, I went in there with Jake because I told him to take out. I said I was going to go back in there and that night or like the next night, and he said he was going to go in the next morning with his kid, but he didn't end up doing that. The kid couldn't go or whatever. So then a couple days later, like Jake and I went back in there, and like, and that first day I went and I was calling my way back to the truck, and I'm pretty sure I ran into those first 3 birds, but they didn't answer. I just ended up walking up on them like in between me and my truck. So that was annoying. So
that's 3. That's 0 for 3.
yeah, and so then Jake and I go in there to the exact same spot, like where that bird was. I showed him where that bird was roosted, where I knocked it off the thing. We got over there, and there's a bazillion birds. We heard 250 gobbles, like if we heard one, and they were all on the other side of the river, like nothing was on our side. So then we ended up walking around, got a bird going, and we set up on like the kind of like on the top, like he was on one side of the ridge, I was on the other side of the ridge, and this bird was just on the other side and could not pull him across this 2-track. Like I could not, and I kept moving back, nothing I could do. So then we circled around on him, and we must have got too. I gave Jake a class on being like too aggressive, like. Because I think that bird had to have seen us because he was gobbling like crazy. We circled around on him. But the problem was like there's all these little pockets of brush. It was like these openings and these pockets of brush and like these like old logging roads. And it's hard because, you know, they could have he could have been like moving up the logging road, like coming to us because we didn't know exactly where he was. And it was like this big, giant, like open area on the other side. So, who knows? And
like,
then I had to go to
moves. Like how? Like I guess are you talking like 10-yard moves, 50-yard moves? Like what's like what's like too aggressive? I guess like were you like, oh, I heard him gobble. I think over there. Let's move 50 yards or.
What, no. So this was like this bird was like maybe like 100 or 150 yards out in front of us, but we were on this ridge. Then it went down into like an old like clear cut that was probably like chest high. Then there was a logging road. Then there was some more brush. Then there was like a fresher clear cut, and then there was some like grass out there. And he wouldn't come through that thick stuff. I think he was just out there like in that grass or in one of those 2-tracks or something.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So he was just out there in the open, and he wouldn't come up to us. And there were some hens over to the other way that we heard like way down the ridge. So he could have been like working his way over that way. So we came back over the ridge so he couldn't see us because of the elevation. And we circled all the way around the point of the ridge and came up to that 2-track to the other side of the opening. And I called right there. So and then he answered. He was still right there, and he was probably, you know, that same 150, 200 yards. And so then we were just trying to move up a little bit further so that we didn't have as much brush still in between us. And he was either coming towards us or not, like, or he saw us somewhere in between.
So hindsight would have been you'd have hung out and made that big move and hung out there for a little bit longer.
Yeah, we would have just stayed. We would have just set up right there and try to pull him down that 2-track.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I mean, that's what guys talk about. Like they want to be, you know, if the nature of the turkey is the peacock for them and have the hens come in, they're going to do it in an area that has a little bit of a visual, right? Like, I mean, I guess that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So then we were like out of time. I had to go to work. So, we're walking back to the truck, walking and calling again, get some birds going. And I had like 15 minutes, so I'm like, all right, well, we can try and mess with these birds, call, and these birds answer like right there. So I'm like, all right, let's walk up to this. Let's just run up here to this opening real quick, get set up. Running up to this opening, and these birds were like literally running to us. Oh, no. So we like intercepted each other at the exact same time.
Dang.
So
you had a good, I mean, hey, 2 good hunts, right? Like, birds all over, opportunities. Like, that's kind of what you wanted.
Yeah. And so I went back in there one more time, and that bird across the river was still there. And Frank and I are going to go kill that bird in the morning.
So you're pretty, like, we say that, like, confidently. Like, that's, like, they kind of hang out in their same areas over and over again?
That is a ridiculous spot to get to.
Okay.
And, like, that bird hasn't really been messed with, I don't think, except for me. And that bird won every single time. And that's a spot like where that bird wants to be.
Yeah.
Like it's a big grass area and there's two like big sand strips. So I think the first time that bird was just over there in the sun, strutting back and forth. And the second time when I called him, I think he just was running over there. And the hard part is when he's in the bottom and I'm at the top, it's like impossible for me to get down. But I had to like call to locate him. But when I called, he was far away. And the second time when I tried to call to locate him to see like where he was, it was two quick gobbles, like a running gobble, and it was much closer. So I think he was probably a lot closer, but there was no way that I could, from the vantage point that I had. I mean, I had to get down, and it's probably a 40-foot elevation change down this ridge. So there's no way for me to get down there like stealthy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm freaking.
You ain't being no sneaky.
6 foot, 225 pounds. Like it's not. I'm not like.
For sure. For sure.
You know.
So you're gonna go back in there and target that area tomorrow morning.
But we're gonna be on the other side of the river.
Okay.
And the one morning I was
his side of the river.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the one morning I was in there, I did hear somebody killed a bird. I heard one shot on the other side of the river. So that it wouldn't surprise me if somebody killed one, but it was probably a mile from that exact spot. So
nice.
It's not saying that wasn't it.
So public land was kicking your butt, so you went back to old trusty. What'd you say? You said something to me. Mulligan spot. I went to the Mulligan spot.
Yeah. Well, it was just it was a spot where like where Stella shot her bird. Like it's just all these farm fields where there's birds around, and like I know if I hunt there, I'll have an opportunity. So it's just I don't know. It's a killing spot, not necessarily like a hunting spot. Yeah. But so we were out camping over the weekend for Memorial Day weekend. I had to work on Monday, but I was going to get up on Saturday and hunt, and my alarm went off, and I went back to bed for like 10 more minutes, and when I woke up, it was raining like crazy. And then Sunday morning, it was raining like really bad. So Monday morning, I was like, and this place is like right down the road from where I work. So I told my buddy, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go kill a bird in the morning. And he's like, do it. So, cause he kept telling me to go over there, and I'm like, he's like, there's birds all over. And I'm like, I know, but it's just, not all that exciting. But I got excited. I made it exciting.
You made it exciting.
But it was weird because so I was out there and nothing happened until the fog burned off. And there was nothing happening, and I did a bunch of cutting on the mouth call, and finally got a couple of gobbles, and then I just shut up. That there's a whole lot of like overcalling and whatever, and I've been, the same thing that I do with like the deer hunters, like when you talk to, the Alex Chops, Dan Infaults, Jake Bushes, whatever, you listen to what they say, what Andy May says, listen to the turkey hunters, and they just say, just call and you get a gobble, and then you just listen for a while. And, maybe answer back, here or there just to check. But he's like, if they're gobbling, they're not moving, they're staying there. And so I got another gobble, and it was closer. And so I was like, okay, he's coming. So I turned on the camera, and I was like getting ready. I don't know, it was like 5 or 10 minutes. And I think I hit the call, like just like a couple of like purrs, and I got a gobble right away. I stuck my head out, and he was coming through the fence row. Like so this bird came right through the woods. Like it wasn't like those public land birds that like did not want to go through the woods. Like this bird just freaking ran from one field through the woods into this other field. And he gobbled, but his gobbles were like really quiet, like not like just hammering, like, and they were full on gobbles, but it was just not super loud. And he was like working his way over, but the freaking camera, same thing that happened with Stella and her not being able to shoot. The camera was like aimed out, and I wasn't really focusing on the camera. I was trying to focus on the turkey and like what's going on. So you can only see like a little bit of the turkey right before I shoot. Like you see him fanned up, you hear him gobble, you see me shoot, and then you see the turkey run away 1,000 miles an hour. And
so the first shot, like how far, what were you thinking? Like why, what happened?
Well, I can tell you what happened now because I patterned the gun today.
You never patterned it before this?
I didn't pattern it after I put that scope on. I just kind of like lined up the bead.
Oh my gosh, that's
And
the
I was like,
most Adam thing I've ever heard.
I was like, it's a shotgun. It's going to be close, you know?
No way! You just lined up the bead with the reticle on that little scope.
Yeah. It's like, it's going to be good.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
Like what not to do.
What not to do? So how close was this turkey in the first shot?
It was about like 25 yards. And the funny part is, you know, in the video with Stella, I just say, just let him come. You know, we got all the time in the world. And this turkey, you know, I was like, I'm going to shoot at him at 25.
Well, good. Like, yeah, the farther away, the better chance you got hitting it. You need that pattern to spread out a little bit. That's probably why you got him.
Well,
whiff on the first shot.
That's why I got him at 40 instead of 25.
Exactly. You need that pattern to be twice as wide, so you have a little more room for error.
Yeah.
All right. How far off was it when you patterned it?
It was about maybe 10 to 12 inches to the right.
And we're talking like 25 yards, what, like a saucer plate probably?
Yeah.
You know, like a pretty tight pattern. So
Yeah, and it was probably, if you're going from the center, it was probably about 8 inches low.
So it was, oh my gosh, dude. So yeah, that you weren't even close, like at all in the first shot.
Now, so I had to get a second shot off, but you've seen the video. I would like you to explain what happens next.
Yes. So the video is Adam in the blind, and the gun comes up. Kapow! First shot happens, and you knew it wasn't good. Like something happened, but Adam instantly racks. The other one, he's like looking, and all of a sudden you're like out you're blind. I don't know what type of blind it is, but like the door wasn't zipped, or does it not have a zipper? Is it just
It just clips together.
So it's a Rhino, probably like the one I have. Yeah. Okay. So thank goodness that thing isn't zipped, because you shove the gun out that door and you like make some room and just boom, shoot again and just like smoke it, and you're just like, shit. Like I think that's all you said. I was like, what?
I said, Jesus.
Oh Jesus, that what it was. Oh my gosh. I was like, that is so Adam.
But it was very fast.
Yeah, I would say first shot to the kill shot, I mean, seconds. Like, it happened quick.
I shoot, and the thing takes off. I shoot, and I rack it, because that's what's happening. And he runs off, and I was like, oh, no. So I went out the front window.
Yep, leaned.
And lean around the corner. I'm like, nope, not going to get him there. Pull the gun in, back around, out the back window. Make some room, follow him. And then
dude, you barely fouled him. Like, your cheek hit the stock and boom, you shot. Like, that second shot was quick, it felt like. Or maybe not. Maybe the first shot was that way. I just remember being like, dude, he just shot twice, like, pretty quick. Like, I was impressed.
Yeah.
It's a 360, baby, for the win.
Whew. Yeah.
You got your turkey. 40 yards, dumped him.
Yeah, it was.
With a gun that was, I don't know, if you said 8 inches to the right, or no, 8 inches low, 12 inches to the right, like that angle's, you must have been aiming in the sky or something when you shot up that second shot.
I was leading them.
Oh my gosh, I love
He
it.
was running fast.
Yeah, good thing you were. Oh my gosh. So did you fold him? Like, did he just
Oh yeah,
right
it was
there?
like it was like, you know, the whole like. I think I was explaining it to you, like when you. No, I was explaining it to Frank. You know when you shoot a duck, and it just like, yep,
Yep,
that's what
just
happened.
folds. That's awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. So you
And I
get up
kept
to it. You get up to it, and like, what is it like? Big? Like you said something earlier. Like, is this your biggest turkey, too?
biggest spurs for sure. Like one of the spurs is broke off, but the other, because I said it a million times. Like I've shot big turkeys. Like I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I've seen the beards you have in the studio. Like they seem like
Yeah,
they're
but they've all been like 3/4 inch spurs, like 7/8 inch spurs, nothing with any length on the spurs. And so this one, and what's funny is like I even showed it to my daughter, and she goes, "Finally!" Like, but the one spur is like 1 3/8, like it's hooked.
That's a good
So
spur, right? Like if
yeah,
it's you're getting like if you get close to 1.5 inches, like that's really good.
all the other spurs are like they just come out like a little triangle,
Yeah.
like nothing impressive. And this one is actually like a big curved hook, and the other one is only like 3/4 of an inch, or maybe like 7/8 or something. But it's just broke off. Like you can see it's like curved, and then it's just broken rounded, like it would have been just like the other one. And it's like a 10-inch beard, something like that. But
Yeah, so it's a great bird, right? Like
I mean,
you got a great bird.
yeah, whatever. If it could have been a Jake, I was dusting it. I didn't care. But
Love it.
but it was cool. I mean, but again, there was lots of things that were cool about it. Just like I said, the video of me with the shotgun is pretty.
Yeah, that's right. You like leaned way out. You like shot, racked, leaned out, nope, and then just instantly went to the door and made it look like you had rehearsed that when you shot that second time.
Like I
Well,
was like,
20
oh,
gauge,
that's
right? That's a 20 gauge. No,
12.
12 gauge. Okay. Then what did you use TSS with that, or what's your ammo choice for that gun?
No, that was just like the Winchester, like double X.
Yeah, like 4 shot or 6 shot or
Five.
something. 5 shot. Okay, I think that's what I have. I bought a box years ago, and I think I have Winchester something 6 shot maybe is what I use with it. And I just figured more BBs in the air, like got a better chance of hitting them, I guess.
Ironically, I bought like 3 boxes of that because I was planning on patterning that gun, but then those guys needed a gun to use, so I just gave it to them. And I was
Oh,
like, I didn't pattern it, so I was like,
did they shoot at anything with it?
no.
Oh, okay. Thank goodness. Aim for the sky. Get them.
Hey, just said to make it interesting. And the funniest part about it is, and I would have, this would have been a much different conversation had I not got the bird. But like I was, the gun and my bow were like laying right next to each other, and like so when Stella shot her bird, I brought my bow with me, and my bow was out with the arrow nock just in case.
Yeah.
And we had like ample time that day, but because I had to go to work, like, cause I was like, I should bring my bow, but I want to shoot something with a scope. But I was like, every single time I've shot one with a bow, like it's been a debacle. Like, and I have to go to work, so I don't want to be like chasing this thing around, or, like
Calling buddies. Can you go get my turkey for me?
yeah, I need to call a freaking. Do they have like a
tractor.
tracking dog for
Find it,
turkeys?
Fred, to come get your turkey.
Yeah. So that's why I didn't bring my bow. But I honestly was gonna bring my bow. And this one would have been perfect because, I mean,
Yeah, in a
It was,
blind, right? Like that's what you want. A 25
yeah,
yard shot.
yeah. I mean, it would have been, and the bird was coming like from like the blind, no pun intended, but from like the blind side. Like there was no windows on that. There was no sun. There was no nothing coming into the blind. So I could have literally just been at full draw. Like I could have just ranged out there, been at full draw as soon as he came like into the open, and
Plugged them.
shot him in the wing butt and had to chase him.
Yeah, that doesn't
Like
seem like
whatever.
fun. I
Like,
don't know. I think turkeys need to be shot with a shotgun. I think.
well, that's what they say, but
I yeah, like you talked about your hunt, like Saturday morning, Sunday morning. We and I'm trying to think. I want to say the week before I had called you and I took Henry, he's 10, and then his cousin who's also 10 out. His cousin never hunted before, so it's like his first hunt. He spent the night and like we're waking up early. And the night before I was like telling you about like, hey, turkey's this, turkey's that. You're like, you need to get out there and roost some birds with the kids and set the pop up blind up and do that. And I was like, all right, deal. Did it. And we sat on the way out there, set the blind up. Like, they gobbled like so many times. I'm like, dude, they're right there. This is going to be great. And set the blind up. And we got out that next morning and we're walking out. And sure enough, they're gobbling on the roost again. I'm like, sweet. I'm like, they're right there. Like, they're 100 yards away. Like, I know right where they're at. I see them in there when I'm hunting in the fall. Like, this is gonna be a fun hunt. Well, having a kid that's never hunted before in a blind and not understanding how to whisper and not stick his hand out the window and do all those things. That we had one Tom, I'm assuming the Tom just from the sound of his gobble. He came down. He like was almost to the edge of the woods, and that the way the blind was set up, it's the one that you can like see through like half of it pretty easy. But then like the dark side, I had like facing that way because I didn't want him to like see us in there. And I think it was so funny. Things gobbling, and that was the side that the kid that never hunted before was on, and then Henry was in the middle, and then I'm on the left side. And I'm like, all right, they're coming in. I'm like calling very like I only called a couple times, and I look over, and the kid's got his like hand out the window, like doing this number. Like I don't know if he's trying to swat at mosquitoes or what. And then sure enough, the next guy we heard is like, going the other way. I didn't tell him that he spooked it off, but I'm pretty sure he spooked it off. So that was a fun morning. And then we were going to hunt that night, but I can't remember what happened. We didn't go back the night, but then the next day we got like that 60-mile-an-hour wind. And I'm like, oh man, dude, my pop-up blind's gone. Like it's in the middle of this field. It's not in the middle of the field, but it was like on the edge of the field. And fast forward a week, and I was like, Henry, we should probably go hunting. And Friday, we were going to go hunting Saturday morning. And just like, I was like, hey, we just got to get up early. We'll go find the blind kind of a thing and set it up. Like, that thing's probably deep in the woods. And I woke up and it was raining. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really feel like looking for a blind in the rain. I was like, let's just hold off and we'll go Sunday morning. So Saturday night we go out there, and I got there at like 8:30, so like I thought it was like similar time to when we went the week before, and we like crested the hill, and sure enough, there's four Jakes like looking at us like at 150 yards, like in the field going into the woods where they roost, and I was like, let's just like keep walking like we own the place, and we walked all the way in there, and I found the blind. It of course blew. I still don't get how those things can go so far in the woods when they're a pop up blind, but found it and set up. And what I did that time is I was like talking to you. I was like, man, I can get like closer to them, like if they're roosting. And we had spooked those jakes, I assumed, on the way in. So I was like, well, they're probably going to roost a little deeper. So I'm going to put this pop-up blind like right in the middle of things. Like it'll be great. And we set it all up and get everything done. And I didn't hear any gobbles, but like obviously knew there was turkeys in the woodlot. Get back to the car, and the wife was in the car, and she's like, yeah, you guys like barely got out of here, and I saw like a big tom or like two or three toms and a hen or two like cross the road, and they were going right into the woods, and they're gobbling like nonstop. I'm like, I couldn't hear the gobbles because all the leaves up. It makes it kind of harder to hear them. And I had tried calling right before we left, and I didn't hear any Oh, we actually did hear one really far off gobble when we got the blind all set up. So me and Henry are pretty excited. So we did all that, and then actually did that on a Friday night. That's what we did. We did it on a Friday night, I had found it, and then it was pouring rain. It was like too much rain, and we had a pretty far walk. I was like, I'm not going to do that with the kid. So then we went Sunday morning. So that blind sat for a whole day. Well, we're like walking in Sunday morning, a little late, slept in just a little bit, not going to lie. It was probably like 5:20, 5:30, like light enough to kind of see. And we're like sneaking through, but it rained, so it was like quiet. And we hear him gobbling like kind of far off, like maybe 100 yards away from the blind. I'm like, oh, this is perfect, Henry. And like we're going. All of a sudden, I'm like looking in the trees, and I see one. And I'm like, oh, dang, he's like right there, like 50 yards. And I'm like, well, isn't really like from what I can tell. I didn't have my binos up, but I was like, I can see him, but he might not see us. Like we were being quiet. So like, let's sneak into the blind still. Snuck into the blind, and I like crawled out there, set the decoys up like really close to the blind. Got back in. 5 minutes later, he gobbles. So I'm like, all right, sweet. Like he's right there, and he's like literally the base of the tree is like 40 yards away. So I'm like, this is perfect. Like I kind of was like, all right, buddy. Like he was all excited. He's like, I haven't heard one gobble like that close. And we're way in, and I'm not a good caller. Don't have much experience with any of that. So like I'm just like a couple little mouth calls. Like I think he gobbled the one time we're set up, and then like shooting light happened. I waited like 10 minutes. Other turkeys were gobbling. I did a couple little calls, and he gobbled, and I was like, perfect. Like we're just gonna wait for him to fly down. And we wait and we wait. Don't hear him fly down. I'm like, this is weird. Like I'm like looking out the window, like I can't see him. And about 75 yards out, I see like a turkey head, and I'm like, all right, there's some turkeys coming, Henry. Ended up being two jakes, and they're in the woods. We're like in the woods, and there's like a little like logging road, like old school logging road that's out in front of us. Like I set the decoys up in a way where they're like on the field edge. You can see them. They weren't in the field, but I figured any turkeys in the field could see them, and then any turkeys on that like logging road could like look down it and see the decoys. Like I was like, I can get two spots with one, and like there's a jake out there. Then there's like a jake strutting, and I was able to show Henry like, hey, that's a jake. You can see like all his fans not complete, and it took him like 30 minutes to like get from 75 yards to like 45 yards. And I'm like, man, I call occasionally. Like they're walking one way, and I called a couple times. They turned and came at us. And well, finally they like are committing like to break that 30-yard spot. And I wrote down communication with a kiddo because I kind of failed my son a little bit here. But I'm anticipating them going like coming straight down to us and then going to the decoys to the right. And there's like a little pinch point, like it's a great rut funnel. Like they want to stay in the woods, they got to come right by his blind. Well, the first one like veered off to the left, and like I told Henry, I was like, well, they're both jakes, but like the one is like bigger than the other one. Like he's actually the one that's like strutting, and he gobbled one time, which I thought was kind of cool for Henry. And they start going through like all these like big trees, and he's like 25, 30 yards. And I'm like, Henry, are you on him? And Henry's like, he's like watching him with his eyes, but he's not like bringing the gun with him. Because I had told him, I was like, hey, they're going to be right here in front of us. There was like an indicator. I was like, when they get there, you can shoot them. And they like cut off. And I think he kind of just assumed like, oh, my opportunity didn't happen. And I'm like, dude, follow him. You can shoot him. And they're like walking through, and he swings the gun over. And I'm like, you see him? He's like, yep. So I like did like a little mouth like chirp at him. And he like kind of did a little stop, picked us up. I'm like, hey, dude, right there. Like, and this turkey is like wide open for me. Like, it looks like a great shot. He shoots and misses. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, all I saw was like barely seen its head when I shot. And so it wasn't near good enough for him. And he was a little upset at himself. But the turkey like stayed 50 yards away. And then sure enough, 3 more come, and they all hang out at 50 yards. And Henry was like wanting to get a shot, but I was like, no, you can't shoot that far. So we had like, 4 jakes around us for like, I don't know, 45, 50 minutes. And I called at them, and they kind of would get to like within 40 yards, and then they'd kind of like turn around and leave, and I'd call again, and they'd come to about 40 yards again and then leave, and he didn't get the shot. But it was a good morning. And then that turkey that was in that tree, man, I never heard him fly out of there, so I don't know if he just stealth moded it when we were set up in the blind or what, but yeah, that was our bet. That was Henry's best opportunity at turkey in 3 years of turkey hunting, and he whiffed. But I'm fine with it. Like I want him to struggle a little bit, so it was all good.
So you got till the 31st. What's the?
Yeah.
Are you guys done? Or?
Nope. Soccer's going right now, so we have. I think that was only our fourth time. We went out 4 times. 40 yards is like we've been 40 yards a couple times. and that was the first one to break that 40-yard line. But we left the blind there. Turkeys like to roost in that area. We kind of did a little scout, and Henry picked up a bunch of feathers. So I was like, hey, they're all here because they're roosting in those trees, and could see the turkey crap on the leaves. So I was like, hey, we'll come back. So we left the blind there. If I get out there early enough, we have a soccer game Friday, which is nice. We have Saturday morning, Sunday morning that we're going to go. And I think the 31st is what, on a Monday or a Sunday? Is the 30th? Yeah, 30th is Saturday, and then Sunday. So we might go Saturday morning and Saturday night if we don't get it done, and then hunt Sunday morning. And we might hunt Sunday night too. I think we're just going to ride the hole out there and try to get. There's a lot of, like I said, there was 4 jakes, and we hunted it earlier, and we walked in there and we saw 4 toms. So there's a good amount of turkeys for him to get. So we're going to give it a good shot.
Are you setting up a target at 40 and seeing what the pattern looks like?
I thought about that. I was going to actually ask you that. That was one of the things I wrote down, the gun. Like, I know adults do that, but like, do you think that's something a kid that should take a 40-yard shot with a 410? Or I guess if he hits paper at 45 or 40 yards good, is that something you can let him rip with a 410? I don't really have much experience with that stuff.
Well, I feel like that's part of that code, right? Like whether it's a kid or whatever, it's the capabilities of the weapon, and obviously, and the shooter too. But like, people are shooting 60 yards with TSS, but that's the thing, is like sometimes it's okay for the turkeys to win, right?
Yeah.
So the whole point is like kind of like the archery crossbow type.
Yeah.
Best of the West. So, but at the same time, if you have, the capability, right? So does he have a red dot on that?
No, it's a turkey gun. So it has like the front sight's a circle, and then the front's like a, green. And so it's like really easy to put. It's like whatever the standard is. And he shot it at paper at 30 yards, like was 6 shot and like hammers it. But I was just kind of like, I don't want him to like wound a turkey. Like, you watch videos and they can absorb lead pretty easy. So I just kind of thought 30 yards and in was kind of like a good range for him.
Well, I mean, whatever the number is, but I think it's like you want to have like, it's like 90 or 100 pellets, I think, in a paper plate at whatever distance.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you put a paper,
we'll make him struggle. 30 yards and in, we'll just stay at it. So I think it's fine. I mean, I shot my last turkey I shot, I don't know, 2 years ago. It was like 40 yards, maybe 38 yards, and I just absolutely dusted that thing with my 12 gauge. Like, came running in, and I was like, that looks like 35 yards. I'm shooting, and I stepped it off, and it was like 40, I think, or 38. And, dude, it was like I hit a pillow. Like, that thing didn't even flop. Like, I just hammered it. And that was just with a normal, extra full, whatever my Benelli came with. It's my goose gun, and I just extra full choke with that Winchester 6 shot. And I was like, dude, I could have probably shot that thing at 80 yards with how it folded it at 40. Like, good grief. Like, it was like a thing. Like, feathers were just like everywhere, and that thing just poof right down. So I don't really know much about that stuff. So I think for me, like, let's just get him close for him. And I mean, dude, I don't care if he kills a turkey. Like, I just think it's cool that he still wants to go, even though he hasn't had much success. So I'm fine with that.
Well, the thing about turkey hunting is it's interactive. Like, if you're not hearing anything, then can be boring. But like, to see like Stella's reaction when she could see the turkey and it was gobbling, it was like a whole nother, like, you could see her, you could see the breathing pattern change. You could see it getting excited. You could see the excitement. You could see all sorts of stuff. So
yeah, he likes it. Like, we got within 40 yards. We were armory crawling. Like, the first hunt this year, we were armory crawling. It was after we got all that rain. So like, I had to take my boots off and roll the pants up and carry him across the creek. And we armory crawled, and we got within 40. He thought that was the time of his life. That when we brought his cousin out that never hunted before, we drove around the block and found some turkeys. I was like, I think that's a tom and a hen. Like, let's go sneak up on them. And we got within 20 yards and ended up being 2 hens. So like, he's had, we've got a little mixed bag of hunts for it. I think he likes it. So It'll be good.
Yeah.
Real good.
Well, can't wait to see how that plays out. So what do you got going on here before we wrap this up with the Rome podcast crew? What's coming up with that?
Yeah, we are actually, we did a live, excuse me, I don't know why I'm all of a sudden coughing, but we did a YouTube live podcast that we streamed at the last NRC meeting, the May 13th one, and we are going to be doing another one, I believe, for the June meeting. I don't know if how many of us are going to make it, but a couple of us will be there. And we kind of were like just brainstorming, like, hey, let's do another live before that, just to make sure we get all the bugs worked out. So Thursday night, which is going to be, oh shoot, what is that? May 28th. Yeah, May 28th. We are going to do a live podcast that's going to be streaming on our YouTube, the Rome Syndicate page. I don't know if Adam, are you working that night, or are you going to be able to hop on with us, or what are you thinking?
I think I should be able to hop on.
So we're going to do kind of a Q&A. So anyone that wants, we'll, obviously have the link out there for guys to look up. We'd love for anyone and everyone to hop on there, ask some questions, whoever's on. There's 9 of us total, so I don't know how many of the 9 are going to be on the podcast, but it might be a little chaotic. But we just want to kind of do something with the guys who are listening, and any questions, for what we got going on there. If you want to make fun of Brad, totally fine with it. And that's what we're going to be doing this week. It'll be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Looking forward to it, and I'm going to try and make it to the NRC meeting to sit in on that. So
yeah, dude, I've talked to a couple of people. I've messaged a few people. I'm like, hey, if you're at the meeting, you probably saw us at the last one. Would love for you to hop on and talk a little bit about it. And there's a couple people that I would like it's easy to talk to guys that maybe share the same thoughts as us, because we're just like maybe already friends, or we have the same thing. I'm trying to reach out to some people that might think a little differently, or they hunt a little different than we do, and kind of get their take. Because there's some people up there that have a different opinion on what Michigan deer hunting should look like, or what they like, that I listen to. I'm like, man, that's pretty informative. Like, I want to know more, and we're gonna try to get that a little bit more of a mixed bag in for the next meeting.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to it, and always fun.
Congrats on your turkey.
Yeah, John Wick with a shotgun, like I said.
Hey, dude, I said John Wick wouldn't need 2 shots, so we had to come up with a different guy.
Come on. It's all about the speed.
You definitely got that down. That gun is an extension of your body.
Would you have made that second shot, is what I'm...
I don't know. Would I have even tried it? Like, kind of like, I think I'd have been laughing too hard. Like, how did I just miss this thing at 25 yards? But I've made some pretty good shots with the gun in my day. Not an AR, because I don't know how to really operate one of those, but I've made some Hail Mary shots.
Yeah, but it was just, I didn't even think about it, though. It was just like, this is what needs to happen.
Yeah, you were locked in, baby. You were locked in.
Yeah, I'll have to get that up for you guys. So, all right, Nate, we'll see you.